up, everybody?
Hey.
We got Lily, Xicana boxing today.
Hey. Hi.
Talk a little bit of boxing and a little bit of everything. You know the vibes. Could you hear the music this time, Stella?
I can.
All right. Sometimes
I can.
you can hear it,
Sometimes you drop it too low. And then we
Yeah,
can't
I
hear
know,
it.
man. I gotta get it together.
You drop it like mid party, and then I'm like, wait a second. And I'm okay. There it is. Oh, nope.
Right.
You know. Like,
I know, man. I know. It's like herky jerky, kind of like Tyson Fury's boxing style. Hey, there's a lot of boxing drama going on right now, huh?
So much from every single direction, all sorts of new, old, every weight class, you name it. It's like Jerry Springer.
And by the way, I'm super excited right now to be talking with somebody who's into boxing just as much as I am. And by the way, like for a chick to be into boxing, that's like some unicorn shit right there. So shout out to that. Like real talk, man. Like, I mean, to find like a hardcore boxing fan in general is like, you know, tough to come by, and then let alone like a chick who's into boxing. I mean, I know they're out there, but I'm just saying it's more unicorn type of vibes. You know what I'm saying?
these days, I feel like it was more of a thing like 20 years ago. And now I feel like it's less than it used to be.
There was more casual fans, you know, back in the day when it was, you know, the Mike Tyson era or any of the other fighters. It's because they promoted it more. But now there's so many boxing suits,
so
different
many
boxing
promotionals.
promoters.
Yeah, so many promotions, so many different networks. And, you know, a lot of people still don't have access to, let's say, everybody has a smart TV, but I still get my uncles calling me like, where's Canelo fighting? How can I watch it? And it's like they don't know that it's kind of like streaming now. And then going back to what you said about like, you know, it's rare for like someone to like a girl to like sports in general. I think Estella can agree with me if it's rare when with, don't take this offensively, but with men it's like whenever you tell them you like sports, they like want to quiz you on it. It's like the most random response.
Like, let's see.
Yeah, like what font was on Pacquiao's shorts with 95 Marquez? Like it's just some like random ass shit. Like, oh, I love baseball. And then when I tell people like, oh, I'm a really great Dodger fan, they're like, oh, so who pitched in the last World Series before this one? And like they'll just men just quiz you. So most of the time I feel like that's why a lot of girls don't say that they're into sports, because, you know, I'm pretty sure it's happened to you, Stella. Like
and it's shit that they wouldn't ask another dude. They wouldn't question your like your fan status and how deep of a fan you are. If you're just like, it's not something they even like think about for you. They're like, oh, that's cool. You're that.
Yeah. You know what? They actually do that to me though when it comes to football, because I always wear my 49ers hat, and I feel like immediately everyone's like, what do you think about the draft? Or what do you think about this player? And I'm like, damn, I don't even follow it that close. Like I used to, you know, back in the day. But, you know, when they start like, you know, doing a deep dive on, you know, whatever sport that they're talking about, because I got like, you know, my three teams, you know, I got 49ers, I got Giants, and I got Warriors. Can't tell you who's on the team. I don't know what it is. I'm just not into it like that no more. But boxing, you know, I'm into boxing and I follow boxing close. Yeah. So, you know, like I could, you know, mix that with people about that, but people do that to guys too.
I feel like at this point, I just
same passive aggressiveness though.
Yeah.
Not with the same passive aggressiveness.
I get what you're saying.
Because for men, it's more acceptable to like just be a casual fan, like just be like, oh, I watch it here and there, or oh, I know the top names, or I know the champions. But with women, it's like you gotta prove to be like some sort of encyclopedia or something.
Yeah, totally.
That's why I can see what you're talking about. I'm not anymore. I just go, oh, I don't really follow sports anymore. But then like they'll like say something and I'll be like, oh yeah, you know, so and so, and like is that still like? And they'll be like, oh, so you are a sports fan? I'm not like, I like them, but I'm not like
not to your standards.
Rushing home every day to watch every single game so that I can prove to you that I do, you know?
Yeah. Like yesterday I had a dude ask me about the Russian guy that's really good with his feet. And I'm like, who are you talking about? He's like, young dude. And he just got beat by another young dude. I'm like, who? Like, what are you talking about? Then he went on Google real quick. Oh, Lomachenko. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, all right,
technically he's from the Ukraine.
Right. And he's not that young either. So
no, he's like 30 something.
Exactly.
Hey, we're young.
No, I'm not saying that.
Boxing years.
No.
In boxing years, that's old.
Yeah, it's like past the prime, right?
Also, he lost to
Salido.
Teofimo in Russian. Oh no, he said
Oh,
young dude. Yeah,
yeah. Young dude. But he said that he was undefeated before he got beat by that
No,
young dude.
see, but that was sneaky marketing from Top Rank and
Yeah.
ESPN. Because whenever Lomachenko would fight, and he would always fight on ESPN, they did market him as undefeated. It was like
Isn't
the
that crazy?
Salido fight never happened. And for the casual fan who if you don't follow boxing, but what's the next accessible thing besides sometimes PBC having stuff on Fox? You have it on ESPN where everybody watches sports and it's prime time. So imagine this person just got off of work, sat down, or it's a Saturday, they want to watch whatever's on ESPN, and they see that and they're impressed by Lomachenko, because as you should be, you like, oh, this guy's undefeated, right? So yes, ESPN and Top Rank did a great thing marketing Lomachenko as undefeated, because who was going to question that? Not the casuals.
Right. What do you think about Jake
Right.
Paul and Logan Paul being in boxing?
It's a hard question, because I can understand definitely everybody's angle of it. Like we were talking about earlier, it's different before how boxing was. Boxing had much more eyes than now.
Right.
And much dedicated fans. Now, I used to bartend, and people, we talk boxing and everybody was usually like, oh, well, I used to watch it, but then I got to political. I used to watch it, but then I saw too many fights that had questionable outcomes. And well, as a hardcore boxing fan, what am I supposed to say? No? Like,
Right.
yes,
Right.
it's true, right? And again, because of the different promotional companies, different sanctioning bodies, you have all sorts of like this, little groups that it's not accessible for everybody. So I can see why people argue that, hey, it's a different audience coming in, and if you put good fighters in the undercards of these, big YouTubers, then maybe these guys that see them are going to like them, right? Or it's going to bring more eyes to the sport. Or just like Canelo says it, the sun shines for everybody. There's a different audience. They're going to have like a TikTok card, I think, versus YouTuber stuff. My son told me about that. I didn't even know.
Oh wow.
My son told me, he's like, Mom, yeah, he's like, there's going to be TikTokers versus YouTubers. I'm like, for what? He's like, just money. I'm like, oh, okay. But I'm like, cool. But see, it's merging, and I get it, so it's like, okay, maybe it's not my thing,
Right.
but I'm not gonna like bash someone for liking it, if that makes any sense. But also, I can definitely see how it can be a little bit insulting to boxers who are on the come up and literally like waiting for an opportunity, only to get like these people who don't dedicate their lives to boxing. Yes, you can say that the Logan brothers or Paul brothers have taken it more seriously these last couple of years, but it's nothing compared to literally, especially if there's guys are coming up from the amateurs, their entire childhood,
right,
dedicated to the sport. And not even that, even just actual champions who are on the lower weight classes don't get paid as much as these guys. Look at Chocolatito. Look at Estrada. Anyway, all these guys who are so fucking badass in the boxing world, they don't get paid what Logan Paul and Jake Paul and all these guys, right? They don't. So I can see how that's frustrating. Frustrating for the hardcore fan and frustrating for the fighters themselves, because I'm pretty sure you saw James, where people were like, oh, all these guys are just stealing the light, stealing, stealing. And yes, it's true. And it's frustrating. And I guess that just teaches people that you got to market yourself on the internet. Look at Ryan Garcia.
I think with that though, I think it should be called something else, because I think so there's actual wrestling, and then there's WWE for showcasing those kind of
That's a great point, actually.
I don't think that should be boxing as it is. I think it should be its own separate thing. And then if they want to challenge each other, those can be separate events, but let's not just throw them together like that. I think
that is I didn't even think about it like that. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna give you credit. I'm gonna say that in my next YouTube live, because that is so.
Girl.
I'm gonna be like this part, but it's so it makes sense, because when Eddie Hearn, because it was Eddie Hearn, right, that started introducing the YouTuber cards. People were angry, especially because the hardcore fans were mad that they were mixing the main events being, these YouTubers, and he put the fighters in the undercard. So people were super fucking pissed about that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, why don't you do like a Friday night for the YouTubers and the TikTokers, and then Saturdays for the real boxers? And then that way you get both audiences to subscribe to your platform, but you don't gotta merge them because the young people, they don't care. They at the end of the day, they're gonna watch because they want to see their their YouTuber or whatever. But the hardcore fans, you know how they are. They get like super, I'm not gonna watch this, I'm not gonna support this. Type of stuff.
To the boycott point.
Yes.
Where they're like, fuck this. I'm
cancel.
done.
I think my biggest like takeaway too from especially the Eddie Hearn introduction to the YouTuber on the zone is that like his argument is that it would bring more people to the sport,
which it is.
But then he puts guys like Billy Joe Saunders in the undercard.
right.
What guys like? Come on, what guy's gonna be like watching this event and then be like, wow, Billy Joe Saunders, what a talented lad, because he is, but he's not an exciting guy.
Right.
So and then he like Devin Haney, which did amazing this weekend, by the way. Congrats, Devin Haney. But he doesn't have that style. Right. So you would think that if you do want to draw in even more, actually not even bring in the eyes, because the eyes are brought just by those YouTubers, right? But then you put Boo Boo on there, you put like Billy Joe and Devin Haney, who are not the most,
all of the, more like
tactical guys.
Defensive fighters.
Yeah, defensive tactical guys. And it's like, in order to retain them, wouldn't you want to put guys that like are knockout artists, or not knockout artists, but guys that are going to be a little bit more busy, more offensive, in order to want to retain those eyes, for people to be like, hey, this is actually fun. I might tune into another DAZN card, even if my YouTuber isn't on it.
Right.
So,
they do that a lot on Top Rank. Top Rank has a lot of cards with like just full of knockouts.
Yeah.
And they match up the opponents, perfectly.
Especially in the undercards, it's pretty. It gets you going.
Yeah, and that's why they've been picking up a lot of knockout artists like F.A. Ajagba.
Yeah,
F.A. Ajagba.
His last knockout was scary as hell.
Yeah, I thought, man, those knockouts be scary, man. Sometimes it looks like the guy gets off in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but nothing was scary as when Gervonta knocked out Santa Cruz. Oh my goodness.
It looked like he was even smiling. Like that's how out he was.
Oh, he was
like
out,
smiling.
Man. Yeah, and I was like, dang. I was like, man, Leo, get up, man, please.
He was not, bro. You from the minute that punchline, you could tell he was not gonna get up from that one.
Man. But I mean, it was probably nowhere as scary as when Pacquiao got knocked out by Marquez.
Yeah,
that might have been the worst I've ever seen.
I don't even.
That was a moment in
Stella?
history.
Isn't that like still a meme? Everywhere, just him like laying
definitely.
there, fucking.
And then as bigger names keep getting knocked out, they like put them together, one on top of each other. Have you guys seen those memes?
No.
Like when Nate Robinson got knocked out by Jake Paul, they like put him next to Pacquiao, like on top of him, like sideways.
Bodies just like layering.
Oh, the Nate Robinson one was too funny.
Yeah,
he
they
had no
put them
business
together.
in the ring though. Two people that have no business in the ring.
See, and going back to what Stella said, you would think you separate them, and also because Jake Paul's literally, he has a record of 3-0, a professional record.
It's not
like,
fair.
No, it's not because
fair.
they're not boxers.
They're not. I hate that.
So she's right.
Yeah, you put them in there. Like, all right, so like a typical boxer in the start of their career, they fight guys who have losing records. Right. So,
but even those guys would give Jake Paul a run for his fucking money, because these are guys that are at the gym.
Yeah.
Right.
Those guys would give Jake Paul a hard night.
Hell yeah.
And I think Tyrone Woodley might even give him a hard night, because Tyrone Woodley, he has a background a little bit, in boxing, and he hits really fucking hard too.
Well, it's so frustrating because, like you said, people who've been working their entire life to get up to the level to where they could just be like, hey, I want to fight Floyd Mayweather
over clout,
not even considered, but like this guy just comes in, hey, today I think I'm gonna be a boxer,
just because they have
to
like
fight Floyd Mayweather.
Like
that's crazy.
Not even like boxers
bullshit.
Who deserved it at 147 got to fight Floyd.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Make their own little, instead of WWE like boxing entertainment, some shit. You know what I mean?
I think
something
that's what Triller would be, right? Isn't Triller heading to that? Like being kind of like a,
I don't know.
I mean, they got Snoop Dogg on there. They like smoking on there. They got drunk as Oscar de la Hoya on there.
I hope they never do that again. I mean, he was just absolutely
Gone.
gone off
I
the
really-
cuff on the last one.
The thing is that like it makes me sad because Oscar's like
A
he
legend.
was such a tremendous fighter, and I
yeah.
think all of
Oh.
that is being completely erased because of who he is now as a promoter, but also because of these instances. And it sucks because man, like he do need help. Like he needs help, and for them to let him get on the mic like that and
broadcast it like that.
continue.
Yeah.
Like after he was saying a couple, I'd be like, okay, like thanks Oscar, like you can go now. And I like call his PR person or whoever, like
Right.
please
Get
come
him
get
now.
this fool.
He is
Yeah.
fucked.
But they
Yeah.
didn't. Why? Because it brought commentary. People are gonna watch. People are gonna tune in to see what
Views,
Oscar's gonna say this time.
Yeah, you know, Triller, they just brought on Jim Lampley.
I know. I saw that yesterday.
I think they're
And
trying to improve their
the
production.
commentary.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
they were, I think it's things like this. Also, this business model they're trying to do. I'm no fucking business major, but I think people don't like the inconsistencies because at the beginning, Triller, with their smoking and their cussing and all this stuff, right? That's what I think people were like, oh, so this is what this is. And some people liked this, some people didn't, but they were watching. Look at the zone. Like the zone started with a very like $10.99 type or $10. And then they switched it to 20. And it's like people, when you start with something and then you like, change it, you don't get the best responses. So I wonder how people are going to respond to Jim Lampley. I think it depends on what we see from the next show, but
I
the
think
next show is a little bit more serious.
I think boxing fans just want like a more serious boxing show. Like the Mike Tyson one wasn't bad, but it was Mike Tyson. So
Yeah.
all of the concerts, it was like, okay, cool. It's like a celebration. Mike Tyson, Roy Jones. But on the last one, like all the concerts and everything, we're like, we want to watch
Triller had
boxing.
like Doja Cat or something, right? In the last
And
one?
she's bad. Like,
Yeah, I
enjoyed
love
that.
her.
I love her.
Yeah, she's one of the baddest. Oh, by
Hell
the way,
yeah.
I have
Agreed.
a new celebrity crush, everybody. I thought that I'd make the announcement right here on the podcast. Kali Uchis that sings that Telepatia song. Oh my. I don't know if it's her voice.
You're
because
late to the party, my friend.
It's both because she can sing.
Yeah. Anyways, back on track. No more concerts with Triller. I think will be good. Maybe just one. Like get one.
Like
maybe
Canelo,
like in the
he had
middle.
like one and then go.
Yeah. And then get back to boxing.
Yeah.
And I think that would make the production better. Like the one with Mike Tyson was a really good production, honestly. But the last one they had with Jake Paul and what's the UFC guy's name, Stella?
No, that's the basketball one.
Already forgot his name.
Which
I don't know his name. The chonky guy. He was all chonky in the way.
Yeah. Anyways, the guy Jake Paul knocked out. That fight, like that
Nate
production was
something?
just completely just like, like I'm glad that this one I did stream. Usually I pay for boxing events, by the
Hey,
way.
Just kidding,
Can I
FBI.
say Nate Robinson.
Yeah, just kidding.
That-
I would never just stream a fight like that. Come
Just
on.
kidding, FBI. We went halfsies.
Jokes. You guys know I tell jokes on the podcast.
Yeah, we went halfsies on that.
Exactly. Yeah,
Punish us
25
all.
Yeah. I mean, I love paying for boxing fights, by the way. Like if it's something that I really want to watch. And I mean, even if it's something I don't really want to watch, most of the time I support. Like I bought the Andy Ruiz versus Areola, I was with that. I was all about that fight. But it looked like everybody in the crowd was about their
I was
own
there.
fight.
I was
you
there.
were there?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah,
Everybody
that
was
must have been
fighting.
a good event to be at.
Yeah, it definitely meant to be like, oh my God, the world is healing. Oh, everybody's fighting.
Right? Everybody's fighting.
Back to normal.
shootings. Everybody's fighting on airplanes these days.
I know that shit's so
Fuck,
crazy.
dude. I keep seeing these videos. I'm all damn.
I'd be way too scared on a plane. Like if we're gonna fight, if you piss me off at the airport, we're gonna have to like meet up after we both get a like Uber or taxi outside the perimeters. Like I'm not about to get like catch a federal case or something.
I was gonna say, like, if you get in trouble at the airport, that's federal, ain't it?
Yeah, hell yeah, that's federal. Especially on top of a plane too. I feel like you're causing harm to everybody, right? Like it's endangering everybody else. Fuck that.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, you won't catch me chunking them on the plane. I could tell you that because I'm already like a nervous wreck anytime I'm on the plane. So I'm to myself. Anytime I get on a plane, I've been on planes so many times. Every single time I'm on a plane, I'm just.
I think it's my last ride. I think I'm gonna die.
Same here. I can't do it.
Exactly how I am. I'm like, oh Lord, please don't let this be the
every little bump,
day.
every little bit of turbulence. I'm just like,
and you never feel right. Like you never feel like I've never relaxed. It doesn't feel right. I mean, I shouldn't. You're like up in the air. Like you shouldn't be up in the air. Like it doesn't feel right.
Like, how is that even possible?
I'm doing
when you
the
think
sign
about
of the
it?
cross, which I don't
Right.
typically do, but I get on the plane and I'm just like,
You become the most
fucking just
religious
like,
person ever.
yeah, exactly.
I feel you. I mean, that's all of us. And see, I got to fly to Miami next week. So, oh my gosh, 6 hours on a plane. I'm going to be tripping out.
That's
Trust
the
me.
longest I've done. Yeah, 6 hours, and
That's
it
a
was
long
horrible.
ride.
I'm going to take a couple CBD gummies, make sure it's the one with the melatonin in it. I'm going to try to zone out because last time I flew to Florida, worst ride I've ever had on a plane. That like it dropped like 100 feet out of the air. Not even joking. Things came out the sky.
It's
It was
probably
like
more
that
than
bad.
100.
Not. I said it came out the sky. The little yellow
Yeah.
oxygen mask.
Oh,
Those dropped
shit.
down.
I would simply start screaming if
I
that
would
happened.
I was
my
done. I
pants.
thought that was it. I was like, oh, this is it. Everybody's
This is where
flipping
it
out.
ends.
Like the plane just like I guess apparently they hit like some kind of like weird air pocket, like they couldn't avoid a storm type of thing. And they hit some kind of air pocket and it just like that. It felt like, have you ever been on Drop Zone or something at Great America?
Hell no.
Yeah, it was like that. Not even joking. The worst
Fuck
flight
that,
ever.
man.
I
The
don't
worst
think I
flight
would
ever.
ever get on a flight after that.
When I got off of that plane, I was like, is this my next life right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, am I in another
Yeah.
dimension right now? Because that was like crazy. Yeah. So
The worst I've had is I went to the Dominican Republic and there was like a storm as we were entering the island and it was raining and it was bad to where like shit fell off from the top, like people's luggages and stuff. And then like the people, what the girls, what are they called again? Flight attendants. They were falling. Like I thought I was gonna die. And same thing, like I started praying and I swear to God, after I started praying, it stopped. I'm like,
serious?
I'm like, oh my God.
Be listening.
God,
But
is that you?
Because it was only 30 minutes. They were already telling us like we're already like descending, but it's really, really bad turbulence. So you guys have to like just relax. But who the hell relaxes when it's like things are falling and stuff? And I remember I'm just minding my business, like watching Guardians of the Galaxy, like with my earphones on. Oh my God, it was awful. I thought I was dying, and we got so scared. And when we finally landed, I remember since we weren't able to fill out the paperwork in the plane because it was turbulence. I got down. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna fill out the paper, and I'm shook as hell still. So I fill it out. I take my passport. I go to the lady, and she's like, "Oh, honey, you grabbed the wrong paper." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And as soon as I turn around, I just start bawling, like crying, and I'm like filling out the paper, like, like I want to go home. And it's like I was just already like trying to cry because of the freaking turbulence, but that lady just telling me I filled out the wrong thing.
Man, all right, so the takeoff is like usually one of the scariest parts for me, right? And like I'm always on the edge until the person comes or the pilot comes on the overcom and says, beverages and snacks will be coming in the next 2 minutes. Like if I hear them say that,
confirmation from them that everything's okay. Because when you're taking off, it feels like you're dropping too.
Yeah, man.
Especially when they change direction.
Terrifying.
And see, Lily, I live in Vegas, and Vegas always has
airport.
Yeah, it has the worst turbulence, like leaving and arriving in Vegas, because there's nothing around. Vegas is like a bowl, basically. I don't know if people realize
it's a basin, yeah.
Yeah. So there's mountains all the way around, and it's like kind of going inward, right? And that's why they got so many flood channels and tunnels here in Vegas, because it's like a bowl, right? And so when there's wind, there's like no like mountains or any kind of terrain that's breaking up the winds. So when you're flying up, it's just every time, it doesn't matter what the weather is. But it seems like anytime I fly in and out, it's like the worst windstorm Vegas has ever seen. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, my first flight ever was actually to Vegas. It wasn't that long ago. It was in 2017 was the first time I ever got on a fucking plane.
Oh, really?
And it was to Vegas, and it was from here. So it's only like 45 minutes. But there's turbulence because you don't really reach a high altitude. You're kind of just,
Yep.
So it was horrible. I thought I was dying, but I thought it was just because that was my first time. Long Beach, so it's like 20 minutes from like LA. Yeah,
I flew out of Long Beach Airport a few times.
Oh, okay,
yeah. That's a small airport. Like you actually walk onto the runway, and then JetBlue most of the time flies.
I have JetBlue. Yeah, that's what I do. JetBlue.
Yeah. JetBlue's kind of fly though. They got the TVs on there.
That's what I do it too. I need all the distractions I can get.
yeah. Real talk. Tell me why one time I flew JetBlue from Long Beach to San Francisco, and there was a movie on the TV, right? And it was a movie about a plane crashing. I'm like, come on, man.
You're like, what the fuck?
Like, you can't play that on the plane, you know?
Like now they have like
people.
DirecTV. They have DirecTV or something.
Yeah,
Or they have like a library of movies now. Like now you can.
You gotta like swipe your card and choose a movie.
No, it's free.
It comes with
free on JetBlue.
Complimentary.
Well, that's
Complimentary, baby. Just like bed and breakfast or whatever what they call it. Continental. Excuse me, continental breakfast.
Kind of like that. You get like a library and then you get like some channels.
What was that?
Interesting.
You get some channels like it's like a DirecTV guide. And
like
then
the Airbuses.
Yeah. So some type of channel, and then you get the library of movies or music or books and stuff. They have magazines. It's like a little Kindle on, and you get to
see. I need a plane with that because my anxiety levels when I'm on a plane, like I always end up buying Wi-Fi, so it saves me money when they just got it available already. Because I'll definitely buy Wi-Fi and start Netflixing it up.
I feel you.
Yeah. Hey, so when you go to fights and whatnot, like, how do you approach these trainers and fighters and everything that do the interviews?
Well, I think my answer would differ from a lot of other people, especially because I think, I'm a girl or whatever. So I always try my best to not have fights, because at fights I'm by myself, but whenever, let's say I want to go to a gym, I try to take a male friend with me. Okay. Because I feel like if I were to go in, they're just like, oh, it's like just some groupie broad. Like they're trying to like just because, I'm not saying that's what happens, but that is, the assumption.
You feel like, the assumption.
That is the assumption, So at fights, it's easier at fights because if you're there and you got a fucking credential, people know to expect people to come up to them and talk to them. So it's easier at fights. At fights, it's easier for me to just be like, oh, hey, like, especially to the people who are in the event. It's harder for, let's say, if I went to the Vergil Ortiz fight in Texas. And of course, everybody in that card, I could just walk up to them and try to interview them and it's fine. But let's say I like when I saw Earl Spence, it's harder for me to be like Zoom and try to get in there. Yeah. Because he's not there as like, he's just there as a fan. And they have more of a probability telling you to fuck off. I never had anybody tell me to fuck off, but it's more of like dismissive. Like I'm going to answer, but I'm going to keep walking, or I'm going to answer, but I'm just going to give you like very, very short, like answers because I don't want to do this right now. I'm here as a fan type of thing.
Word. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Have you ever been to the Boxing Expo in Vegas?
Yes. Because most of the time when they have like the big fights, they have it. Like when Canelo fights, they have it. And yeah, I've been to it. And with that, it's more like I like being there just as a fan. A lot of times, I mean, I'm a super small channel, so I can't say that like, ooh, I get into all the fights, because I don't. But I do sometimes just rather go as a fan because I want to drink and I want to scream and I want to literally go watch the fight, drink and dip. Like I don't want to like have to stay after, and it's fun because you get to hear all the drama. But sometimes you just want, like in Vegas, especially in Vegas, I'm in the mood to drink. I'm not in the mood to be like, let me sit here and work.
Yeah.
Producing content. So I just feel like I hope that one day I get to the point where everybody accepts me, but also I will still choose to go out to some fights as a fan because you get to like drink and do like all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. Totally. Man, I got fucked up at the Devin Haney fight.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I got fucked up. I told a story on the last podcast we put out. Like I went and ordered a drink. Me and my wife, we went and ordered a drink, right? And they gave me the model bottle liquid that's in there. It's basically water, food coloring, and vinegar. And we both ordered Fireball on the rocks, right? And they gave us, the vinegar water on the rocks. We didn't smell it or nothing. We get to the seat, and we had to walk up some stairs to get to the seat because I got the seats that were up there, which, by the way, at the Mandalay isn't that bad. Honestly.
Yeah, no, there's not a bad seat there.
There's not a bad seat. Pretty good, yeah. But we both take a swig and we're just like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Man.
But they didn't notice?
Man, they didn't even notice at first.
They were drunk?
Man, dude, they must have been. Let me fix this light in here. Yeah, they must have been, but yeah, we were like, what is this that they just gave us? But anyways, I mean, aside from that though, yeah, I was, on that kind of hype at the Devin Haney fight, where I just kind of wanted to, have some drinks and relax a little bit. I mean, I don't do any kind of content creation at boxing fights. I'm, definitely just a fan now. I mean, I've thought about it before because I'm so into boxing, but I'm like, I don't know. I kind of, if I did do anything with boxing, I almost would kind of want to be a ref because these refs be pissing me off sometimes. Real talk. Like I almost like want to look into it because I mean that seemed like a fun job.
I feel like they need new refs because come on, every time I watch a fight and we see a ref, it hit me the other day. I'm like, I have not seen a new ref. Like these are all the same refs I've been watching when I was growing up. So like where though? They got no eyesight left. Like, what the fuck are they doing? Like Kenny Bayless, like he pissed me off with all that shit. Like, and then I Googled and he's like 60, 70 something. I'm like, oh, get that man out of there. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? Old? He's like 70.
Kenny Bayless has been around for a while.
He's like 70, I think. So I was like, what is he doing in there?
Okay, all right. I'm gonna get you going on this one. That man did a terrible job in the Josh Taylor versus Ramirez fight. Like Ramirez thought he was getting that Bayless was breaking him apart.
Yeah, because he touched them.
Yeah, you can't touch them from like, arm's distance away because, obviously the fighter thinks, okay, it's getting broken apart right now. And then next thing he knows, he's on the fucking canvas,
But you in the Devin Haney fight, that ref, I forgot his name. He was doing great.
Mora or not Mora.
He would yell it and then get in the way.
Right.
Break it up. And then, and the
right thing to do.
They usually do that, like there's like Kevin, oh my God, Tony Weeks does it. Tony Weeks also does like break it up, and then like he like gets in. He doesn't just like lightly tap a motherfucker. Be like, if you tap one fighter, the other fighter is not feeling it. They don't know what the hell you're doing, especially because they were kind of like this, which is why it landed because they were kind of like one of us like kind of cheek to cheek, right?
Right.
So if Ramirez is over here and Taylor has no idea what's going on over here.
No.
So a lot of people are like, oh, he took advantage. He didn't see. I don't even think he even saw that Bayless was right there.
I don't think he did either. I mean, you do also got to put a little bit of accountability on Ramirez in that as well. I mean, when you think about it, because like you do need to protect yourself, at all times. And that includes making sure the ref is where he's supposed to be. Right. But I mean, I get it. Like, I mean, you can't really.
Ramirez is too passive. When they before they even announced that fight, back when, we knew this shit was going to happen. It's the 140 division.
Yeah.
I always knew Josh Taylor was going to win. I didn't think he was going to, drop Ramirez like that, but I knew he would win because Ramirez is so passive. He is just too passive. And yes, he comes forward. And yes, he has a very, stylistically, he's very come forward, but he's so passive. He lets dudes just like try to run through him. Like without asserting himself, like, no, I'm going to come at you and you're not going to do this. He still comes at them, but not in an assertive manner to where they're scared to come back at him just as hard.
Yeah. Right? One thing I think Ramirez does really well is when he gets somebody hurt, he's really good at like capitalizing on it and like bringing on a barrage of punches,
See, the thing is, when I saw the third and fourth round, I'm like, oh, my boy Jose, he's actually going to pull this off. Like, I was actually thinking, like, holy shit. I was
thinking that too.
I'm like, oh my God, he's going to prove me wrong. Good. Like, I please do. Right. Like when I saw him in I think it was the third and fourth round, right? Where he was like just putting Josh Taylor against the ropes, like kind of trying to set a similar game plan as he did with Maurice Hooker. And I'm like, oh man, like this guy, like, good job. But like when he got caught the first time, I'm like, okay, that seemed like he just didn't even see it coming.
Right. Yeah, speaking of Maurice Hooker, I mean, I'm like, damn, why did he go up to 147 to fight Vergil Ortiz when he was already getting, knocked out at 140?
Well, he was also supposed to fight at 147, but Regis, remember? Before the pandemic happened, he was actually scheduled to fight Regis Prograis in Maryland, also at 147. But, pandemic happened, that didn't happen. And but yeah, like if you're getting knocked out by guys at 140 who are not necessarily knockout punchers, why are you stepping in there with Vergil Ortiz? Like that made no fucking sense to me, but I'm not a trainer or a manager. So.
All right. So.
What do I know?
Stella, you're like, I don't know any of these people.
I don't know all these people. I'm just fucking listening.
Sounds juicy though.
Yeah, man. I fucking love boxing. But all right. Just before we move on from that real quick, I just want to say, do you think that Vergil Ortiz is ready for Bud Crawford?
No, and I don't mean this like offensively because Vergil Ortiz is seriously like I had the honored to have been invited to one of his camps. And
Mm-hmm.
man, that kid is such a dog. Like, most
serious, no
composed
doubt.
kid. I seen him spar Mikey Garcia. I seen him spar one of the 160 guys that's our RGBA. So this kid is so fucking skillful.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think a lot of people don't give him credit because they're like, oh, he got hit by Hooker. I don't think people understand that he didn't respect Hooker.
No.
Right? He doesn't respect Hooker. He didn't respect Hooker's power. He didn't respect anything. So I think people are like, oh, this kid, like, he just gets hits too much, or he's a typical RGBA fighter that just comes forward. I just don't think Vergil had it in him to where he has had to outbox somebody. But which is why I feel like he should, before he should even fight any champion, he should at least go 12 rounds, or let us see something to where we see him adapt, because he's just been running through motherfuckers. And I know it's not his fault, because his resume is really good for a kid his age, and for being with Golden Boy, for being, now he's a contender, right? But his whole prospect career, he was really fighting guys that were top veterans and that didn't have, super mega losses. Like, my biggest thing was Mauricio Herrera.
Yeah,
when he beat Mauricio Herrera, I was very impressed, because Mauricio Herrera had never been folded. Right. And people were like, oh, he's old. He had never been folded. He had never been folded. He beat Danny Garcia, in my humble opinion.
Oh, he did. I was at that fight, actually, in Puerto Rico.
Like, can no one tell me otherwise?
Yeah. No, he definitely beat Danny Garcia at the fight. Right. That fight was totally fixed by the judges.
Exactly. So when Vergil folded him like a chair, I'm like, oh my God. And then when he did Orozco had went the distance with Jose Ramirez. He got dropped once or twice, I think, but he never got hurt. He got flash knockdowns and stuff, but he got up and he continued to fight 12 rounds. He went 12 rounds, and that was his only loss. His only other loss was to a 140 former champion now. Right. And Vergil, again, folded him.
He's serious. Yeah.
And now with Solomon, same guy, one loss, never been stopped. Vergil stopped him. Right. Yeah. I think he fought Vargas, which is the guy that both not Gervonta, what the fuck am I talking about? Errol Spence knocked him out, and I know people are going to use that as a measuring stick, but that kid, like, Vergil was fucking him up, and it was a TKO, which it's cool, whatever. It wasn't a tremendous knockout, but again, he did the same thing Errol Spence did. And then with Maurice Hooker, like, he, it's a former champion. Yes, you can say that, he didn't have any power, or he had already lost the same way, or a worse way to Jose Ramirez. But I feel like Vergil's gonna set a trend of beating up other champions, former opponents, and fucking them up worse. I feel like, I think he's great, but I know it's not his fault. He's not going the distance because they just can't last. Yeah. But I think just for, I would rather him go the distance before trying a title shot, or to keep what he's doing now. Like, I don't think he should be in any rush. He's doing great. Keep fighting the B levels. I would love to see him against the, PBC B levels, the Figueroas, the Granados of the world, right? Yeah. Like, Granados, Figueroa. I don't think there's anybody at 147 in Golden Boy that can give him some smoke. I don't think.
Isn't Hearn
that guy what's his name? The one with the afro?
Oh, yeah. You're talking
what's his
about
name? You know who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking. He's tall, right?
Like, yeah, he's tall. He's also 147. He's the one that goes.
Is he 147? Right. Yeah,
that one. He
Blair the Flair, or
Blair the Flair. Yes,
yeah,
Blair the Flair. He's one, and he's gotten dropped before, so I feel like people won't give Vergil credit, because that guy has been dropped twice before and came back to win. They have Alexis Espino. I think he's also 147, but
Alexis.
That guy's even in a lower.
He fights out of Vegas, don't he?
Yeah, I think he's lower right now than Vergil, so I don't think. And I think they're both with Robert, actually. So I don't think that will happen.
Yeah. You're right.
So I just, I don't know what his future is, other than, I guess, to become mandatory in order for these other guys to give him a shot. Because that's where the problem comes in. Again, how we talked about earlier with the promotional companies and the networks and stuff. Vergil's with Golden Boy. So will all the PBC fighters at 147, all the 147s are with PBC. So how is he going to make those fights happen? He's going to have to become mandatory. And I think he is right now for the WBO. I think he's number 1 or number 2 behind Sean Porter.
Man, in a perfect world, all of the best would just fight the best. and all of the promotional companies will somehow, figure out how to just merge together. All of the sanctioning bodies could get rid of all
Merge
of
the
these
profits.
belts, 4 or 5 belts,
I know,
super
so tired of this
champions
shit.
and franchise champions.
Franchise, super, gold, silver, pearl. I don't know what the hell.
It's ridiculous.
Sounds like Pokemon badges at this point.
I know, right?
Everybody gets one.
Yeah, it's totally madness. But like out here, that's why UFC does so well, because they make the best fight the best, and there's only one belt within that company. And I mean, UFC ain't as big as boxing worldwide, but if they take some of that business model, then they could probably bring more of the casual fans back in, which again, like what we were all talking about earlier, I think that the whole YouTube boxer thing is like super disrespectful, and I know that a lot of the hardcore boxing fans don't like it. I don't personally like it, but I mean, who knows, maybe Eddie Hearn is a promotional genius. He's definitely one of the top promoters right now, and I did not.
Well, right now, yeah.
I was not saying that a while ago, but like I get annoyed when I see him at the face-offs. Every single face-off, he's in the middle. I'm like, come on, dude, just get out the picture already. But like the more I see him making moves, I'm kind of like, damn, maybe he's like the best promoter right now.
He puts on some good fights. Like, yes, he says whatever you want to hear. But he's a great interview because he talks a fucking lot. So I love him. I love to interview him. He just talks and he gives you.
Oh, is that right?
Whatever. And even if he's lying and he's lying and he knows he's lying, he will just give it to you. And he puts on great fights. And I can't. I know there's people who are very invested in like picking and choosing what, promotional company or network or promoter they like. Mm-hmm. I don't. They're all guilty, just as guilty, in my opinion. And they're all put good fights and they all put shit fights. Right. Yeah. I think Eddie Hearn has put on really, really good fights, especially here in the U.S.
Yeah. And he accidentally put on one of the more popular fights over the last couple of years with Andy Ruiz.
The thing is, okay, speaking of that, he always gets guys to beat up his in-house fighters. He makes great fights, but it's always at the expense of his fighters. Look at, he brought in Mikey Garcia, paid him shit ton of money for Mikey Garcia to fight on the zone. Mm-hmm. Fucked up Jesse, who was like, I think his second or third signed person at the zone. And he brought in, and then he paid Chocolatito a bunch of money to come fight over here in the zone and fight your fight. Fucked them up. Same card. 2 of his fighters fucked up. Look at Juan, what's his name? Julio Cesar Martinez. Mm-hmm. Same thing. Beat the fuck out of that little UK guy that he brought in. He gets guys to make great fights with him, but then they beat up his fighters. I'm like, damn, like that's fucking crazy. Look at Billy Joe, look at Smith. All these guys are getting fucked up.
Knocked out. He quit, right?
Yeah, I mean, was it the best thing for him to do? Yes, but it doesn't change the fact that he quit.
Right. Thank you.
And I heard this in the Sean Porter podcast, because this guy's like, oh yeah, he quit. He's like, but even with the eye, he's like, if I had looked across the ring and I seen Canelo standing up, not even sitting down, even if I wasn't hurt, he's like, I would have still quit, because that man did not sit down. I'm like, that's true. Like, I feel like
Canelo's
he didn't have anything left. Yeah.
Canelo's a bad motherfucker. He's the face of boxing.
He really is.
What anybody says right now, he's the face of boxing.
He is. Yes.
Right, Stella? You're a ginger too,
Even
Stella.
I know it. Yeah, I'm a ginger Mexican, just like Canelo.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So then the bond is there.
I bet you if Canelo did a ancestry DNA, it would definitely link back to like Ireland or something like that.
Well, Ireland has a history in Mexico.
Yeah, Ireland colonized. Well, they didn't colonize. They were actually also running.
They were there to help.
They were actually there to help Mexico.
Yeah.
And they all settled in the Jalisco area, so that's why everybody there is white.
What?
Yeah.
These are facts, huh?
Yeah, this is such a true statement. A lot of like Mexican men have like red beards.
Yeah, and that's why they're like everybody around the Jalisco, they're all very light skin and white, because that's where they settled.
I love it when I find out stuff on the podcast and I start learning, and
so it's like people can't even say some show. You don't look Mexican. Tell me what a Mexican looks like. Let me tell you.
What is that? Am I supposed to look like
Mexicans?
Thank you.
There's native Stella. Mexicans. There's Irish Mexicans.
I love you for that.
You know what I mean? There's all kinds.
Like Afro erasure is so big in like Latin communities.
It really is. There's
like people. Yeah. Like I hate when people do say that. Like they expect everybody to look like I don't know what, because it's
Right.
you know, Mexican is not a race, so
It's not.
we all look fucking different.
That's true.
And it's very diverse. So
You know, I'm half Mexican.
whatevs.
I'm half Mexican.
What's the other half?
I guess white. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. White surprise, like
What's the
what's it called? Little 2-year-old. What do they call the
What? Whoa,
What do they
hold on.
call
Where's
the
this
airheads?
going? Hold on, time.
airheads? The airheads, yeah. The
Airheads?
airheads that are called white
The
mystery.
The mystery
Yeah.
white. Oh,
That's
a
what
fucking
Jimmy's
good one.
other half is.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. Like they're like, so what's your nationality? I'm like, well, I'm kind of like those airheads, the mystery ones. You kind of just gotta
Going forward.
take a bite and find out.
And find out. Yeah.
That's a good one. I'm gonna write that one down. Really. That's a fucking good one.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So
what do you think about Oscar and Canelo? Do you think they're setting up a fight, a big mega fight?
See, the thing is that one of the reasons why the lawsuit came up with DAZN and Golden Boy when Canelo sued both of them, it was because one, DAZN was trying to kind of dictate who he was supposed to fight. Right? They didn't want him to fight certain fights. They wanted him to fight a specific schedule. And he's like, no, I signed 11 fights with you, and there was no mention of any
triple G's,
you know, anything. And they were trying to get him to fight UFC fighters, Oscar for an exhibition, right? What he didn't know was that it was actually Golden Boy who had promised, because you know how Golden Boy uses DAZN as their platform for their fighters.
Right.
Apparently, you know, Canelo was first, and then they signed the deal with Golden Boy to televise all their fighters. So, you know, like Ryan Garcia, Vergil, they fought on DAZN, but they're not with DAZN. Like they're not Matchroom guys. They're just, you know, with, you know, here, but they fight in their platform. Yeah. So what Canelo didn't know is that Golden Boy promised DAZN that Canelo would fight a third time with Triple G by a certain date or by a certain fight in with their contract. So they said, yes, please, you know, we'll fight on your platform. Yes, please. And we promise you that if you let us fight on your platform, yes, please, we're going to make Canelo fight Triple G by a certain date or by a certain. So they were still trying to cash in on that, like, paper, you know, there was no pay-per-view. So they had the whole motto of, oh, no more pay-per-view type of shit. But they're trying to make Triple G versus Canelo, which is why they got Triple G too. And Canelo didn't know this. Canelo didn't know that Golden Boy had made that promise to DAZN, and that's why DAZN was asking all this shit. So that's why he was able to sue them. And yes, the judge was like, yes, okay, you're out. But he still had to give Oscar, I think, like 80 million.
80 million.
Something like that.
Oh,
well, I don't know if to both. I don't know. Canelo's not missing any money because he's still making like 30 million a fight anyway with Eddie. But I think Oscar is really upset about that because it's almost like, do you guys speak Spanish?
I understand it.
There's
is great.
There's a term called chapulín, which means like a grasshopper. But it's like a slang for when, let's say, your best friend steals your girlfriend type of thing. It's like that's what happened here. Like Eddie Hearn came from the UK and, you know, try to slide himself in with the biggest fucking name in boxing, because he already had the biggest name in boxing in the UK on their side of the pond. So Eddie Hearn, like you said, making fucking moves, and it's like, I need to get me the best.
That's what I'm saying.
He has boxing over there.
He has all the biggest superstars in the world now.
And even though Canelo cut the contract with DAZN, he's still the winner because he still does business with Eddie Hearn. Yeah. He gets paid the exact same thing, like 30 something million a fight. Ridiculous and he doesn't have to be tied to them. Right. So I think Oscar's just salty. You know, I think he's just salty because he's salty with everybody. He's salty with Dana White.
True.
He's salty with Eddie Hearn. He's salty with Floyd. Like, he's always salty. He sounds like the bitter ex-girlfriend, and I hate that for him. He sounds like a bitter ass ex.
He definitely sounds like a bitter ex. But I don't know, something in me has got me thinking that he's trying to set up some kind of fight with Canelo. Like, I think that's going to be like his very, very last fight. Obviously,
I would see it because Canelo's pissed. Canelo would fuck him up.
Canelo would fucking drop him bad.
Yeah, like it wouldn't be like an exhibition friendly shit going on here. I feel like
no.
Canelo would try to hurt the kid.
Haymakers, yeah. Yeah,
And I would love to see that. Give me that. I tweeted it earlier. Give me that shit. Now that's the exhibition I want to see.
and then guess who would get it? Eddie Hearn, and he would throw the.
Everybody's a winner here.
Yeah,
settled it in court, but then they still gonna do it in the ring. I would love that. I don't care. I would love that because Canelo's genuinely angry, and I think we see a shift in his personality, and I like it because the times I've only interviewed Canelo twice. He is one scary dude. Oh my god! Like my hands were shaking, my feet were shaking because he is so like monotone and just he looks like he hates it. Like he doesn't want to be at the media. Yeah, like he's at the media events and he's just like.
He's like, what am I doing?
Like, okay, like questions or whatever. Like, I'm not saying, I think that's just, he has wrestling bitch face maybe, or maybe he's just not a, guy that loves to talk. There's not everybody's like that.
Eddie Hearn's got him talking now though.
Exactly. But it's scary. Like when I interviewed, I was fucking shaking to where I had to stabilize my camera on the fucking editor because I was like holding the camera all fucked up. And,
wow.
And now it's like now he has a personality. Now he's giving us something to work with. I don't know if you guys saw like not the buildup, but like fight week footage of, the way he's like smiling. He's like being interactive, not just answering the questions, but actually being interactive with the media. He's thanking them for being there. He's like, thank you guys so much for being here. He's like being super interactive. Post fight, we saw what happened. We had never seen this from him. And I love it.
I think that that's probably Eddie's doing. Like he probably linked him with like media people, or what do they call it when like PR? Media it's when training, like media trainers or whatever, where they kind of teach you how to like act when you're in public and in front of cameras.
It could have something to do with how like the Pauls are in, and it's more becoming a show thing. Like he's all shit. Point. I gotta like turn this on if I gotta do this too. People over too. You know what I mean? Because before his fight just spoke for itself, and now he's got to have a personality because now personalities are really involved.
And also, I think maybe he just got tired of people talking shit. Like everybody's talking shit about him, and he said it. He's like, "You guys fight each other while you wait for me, at least."
Right.
And I think he's just tired of it. He went off on Boo Boo. I was here for it. I'm loving this new Canelo. I hope it stays that way. Because he's not trash talking, but he just responds to the trash talking, right? So
he said, "You are a horrible fighter.
You're horrible." Horrible fighter.
I love his accent too.
And I think what's funny is that like they asked him that in an interview in Spanish. They're like, "Oh, like now you're learning English so much that you've been cussing." And he said in Spanish, he's like, "Could you believe how fucking fun it is to talk like bad words, to cuss in English?" He's like, "You cannot believe it." And for us, it's backwards. Like I love cussing in Spanish. I feel like it has more like about pop. It's more like,
I think it's funnier.
Yeah. I think, I'm a Spanish, English was my second language. So like, I still feel like I love cussing in Spanish better. You get the point across, you get the sentiments across, everything, and there's some cuss words that just don't translate to English because that's just how fucking, And I just feel like I can see why Canelo though he's like, "Oh, pussy," and I fuck you up right now, man. Get the fuck out of here. I love that. I added that. I added that to my computer so I can add to my soundboard because I love when he said, "Get the fuck out of here, man, or else I'm gonna fuck you up right now." I like whenever someone's acting out of pocket in my comment section, that's what I'm gonna put. The fuck out of here. I'll fuck you up right now.
How often do you stream?
I should be more consistent about it, but I try that at least once a week, and it would either be like that same, like literally post fight, like after the fight, I just jump on, and that's when I get the most traffic because everybody's like in.
Everybody's looking for it though too.
Yeah,
the algorithms are probably pushing it out there too.
Yeah, so I have like the most viewers, live viewers, and then if I don't because I'm either out getting drunk, like I'm not watching it at my house, I'll do it on Sunday. Like at 5 p.m. or Monday, but I have a 9 to 5, so it's harder for me to do it or want I put on makeup because I don't always put on makeup. I only put on makeup because I knew I was doing this after.
We appreciate that.
I wake up at like 6 a.m. because I have my kids to take to the Boys and Girls Club. Before I go to work, I have to catch the freeway before 7:45 or else traffic hits, right? So I don't have time, but I did put in my 2 weeks and I'm going to try to make it only on YouTube. And I am also a sex worker, so like I don't know if you can say that on the podcast. I mean, you guys talk about other shit, so
You
I
can.
can't say that on the podcast.
We say some of the foulest stuff on
Yeah.
the podcast. You're good.
So I do like OnlyFans too, and that's made me a lot of good money. It's like, why am I working?
Right.
Mhm.
So if I'm able to make the same or more from the comfort of my room,
Then why not just do that?
why not? So I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
totally.
try, because I am also a writer. Like I'm a copywriter at my job, but I love journalism. So I'm like, you know what? I dead ass do truly believe that my writing is really good, like especially for boxing. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be consistent, and yeah, no one's gonna care at first because it's just in my website. But those are samples for me to send to people and be like, look how
Yeah.
consistent I am. Because I can send some now and be like, yeah, but you haven't written since fucking Valdez knocked out Vergil. So what's up with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like if I'm consistent, then people are gonna be like, okay, then we can trust this person to be just as consistent with us.
Right.
For sure.
And keep getting credentials for the bigger fights, because then they'll see that I'm actually pushing out stories instead of just every now and then because I
Yeah.
have time.
Just
Right?
get your
So-
shit
so
That'd be
published,
so tight.
or published regularly. You'll be good.
Yeah. And I remember like when quarantine first started and I didn't have any more interviews or anything really to do, I would go live like every other day, and I would just put on my camera and I like with the TV in the back, because right now I have like my TV in the back, and I just be like, oh, let's watch and it was an old fight, so I wouldn't get copyrighted, like old fight. And I'd be like drinking, talking, and I would make like $60 just on super chats.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why don't I like, and that was because I was consistent. Now I still make
Right.
some here and there.
Mhm.
Like I'll make like 20, 50 at most. But
Right.
because no one knows when I'm going on live, I don't have
Yeah.
a schedule.
You're not
Right,
like
so I feel like-
announcing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like if I can, I'm gonna give it like a couple months. And if I can get somewhere to where at least I'm getting noticed by the people that I want to get noticed by with the writing, then I want to stay doing it. If not, I'll still just do it for the fun, like you guys, content to make just with people and to like be live with people, because I don't have any friends. I'm lonely as hell. So I love to hop on
Hey,
live.
join the club.
Hey.
I love to hop on live and talk to people. That's the most interaction I get.
So you're saying you'll hop on live with us one of these days?
Yes, and you guys can even
Yeah.
come to
Hey.
mine too, so we can
1000%.
we can do that'd be sick. 'Cause
We
Let
are
it pop in.
we are content. We're addicted to it. Like we
Yeah,
love to do this.
because it's
So,
fun.
yeah.
It is.
And I
love
think
it.
people, you and I'm sorry, like I don't know why your message went to like it didn't go to my inbox. It went to like I didn't even know.
No, I'm just
I
messing.
didn't even know that Instagram
Okay,
has like a
T-Pain.
secret. I know, that's how I felt. I didn't even know that Instagram has like a secret, like all these like requests. I don't think you
Yes.
can see. I
Yeah.
didn't know we had requests. I have so many.
I
I
have
don't
a
know.
lot of those, and then I send like people I don't know to the general, and then people I do
Yeah.
know to the primary.
I
and
didn't
I
see
have,
all
like,
that.
multiple accounts. It's fucking.
I'm not very like Instagram savvy. If you like seen my profile, I don't post much, but
I don't
like
post
I'm
much.
mostly on stories. But I didn't know. So when you asked me that, I'm like, oh my, and then I'm like, oh shit. And it's true. Like I went on, and I'm like, you guys did get big pretty fast.
It happened out of nowhere. Yeah.
Like most people with podcasts, it's very like, it's a very specific liking that they have to like, you know, or either that or a very broad audience like me, true crime. I love true crime. There's like 100 million fucking podcasts. For true
those are the biggest
Right.
podcasts. The
Right,
true
true crime and-
podcasts, yeah.
stuff like that. So that's what I like, which is I feel like everybody likes
Mhm.
that, or Joe Rogan. And
Yeah, Joe Rogan.
that's what they like. So I when I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, like I like scroll through your YouTube, I'm like, you guys are pretty freaking new.
Yeah.
And you already got these
Yeah.
many followers and these many views. I'm like, damn. I'm like,
pretty
that.
cool.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's pretty sick. And I think, like you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
people can see when things are just like generated for content purposes, but when they see people actually having like an interaction and it's genuine, then people like it a lot more. Because going back to boxing reference, everybody hates the zone commentary, not only because it's terrible, but because you can tell those guys hate each other.
Yeah, Sergio
Yeah.
Mora.
Those
they need-
Sergio
get
Mora
him out of
and
there,
Chris
please.
Mannix, all of those, they don't like each other.
No, they don't.
And it's very obvious.
They always argue the whole entire
Yes,
broadcast.
And
I'm
it's
just
not
stop
like arguing like how Andre Ward and Timothy Bradley
It's
argue.
not a debate. It's like a
Yeah, because they're
argument. Yeah.
debate and you know but these two guys are like when you're in high school and you see two guys kind of like outdo each other and like bicker. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And
In
it's
a
like
swinging contest.
exactly. So I'm like, I'm like, when people can tell, like people are not stupid. So I think people really do enjoy actual content that they can see people are genuinely interested in it, and that's what I'm trying to do too.
Yeah. They
Mm.
could totally, sense that and feel it. And I think
Definitely.
people respect it more. And when you do it just for the fun and you're not all the way just too worried about views and stuff like that,
Mhm.
like I think that goes a long way because you're not selling out just for
Yeah.
the views.
Mhm.
And so I think whatever kind of content that people are putting out there, just as long as you love it, then that's all that really truly matters. And I think that just comes to show that betting on yourself always
Mhm.
wins.
For sure.
Yeah.
Even if it's the slower road, like it's still fucking going forward. Like I'm here for it. I love the
Consistency is always key to
Consistency
whatever
is
it
key.
is.
Yeah.
We have put out
Yeah.
one
Thank you.
episode every week since we started almost a year ago. And this year, 2 a week, every week since we started. Like we're
Yeah.
just fucking cranking it out.
And that's how it should be. And that's I told myself, like, okay, I'm like, after I don't work, because I took a week off, I'm gonna go to Mexico. I'm gonna go see my grandma after the pandemic. So I'm like,
Hey.
okay, when I come back, I'm gonna wake up, do my usual morning routine with my kids, but then I'm gonna put on makeup just in case if there's any news of boxing, I could jump on and either go live or just do like a quick 2-minute video of like, hey, like this just in, this is blah 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 blah. Let me know what you guys think and how do you think this is gonna develop.
Yeah.
Bam,
Right.
that's it. Because
Totally.
if I'm like just looking crazy, I'll be like, no, I don't want to like put on makeup.
Right.
Man.
Right.
So like
Yeah.
I have to do it as soon as I wake
the
up, or else I'm
same
not gonna do it.
way.
Man, see,
Content creation is a lot of work. Go ahead.
it is. See, guys, we have it
Yeah,
easy.
you
because
don't
we
gotta do
gotta-
that. You wake up and
Yeah.
maybe brush your hair a little bit, and
That's it.
Not even
That's it.
sometimes.
See, I was taking a nap before this podcast right here. So,
Yeah.
You're like, okay, let's go.
yeah, we probably still got a little drool right here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I worked and then I did my makeup and then I went to the grocery store and then like I hopped on here like right away. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, that's why I
Well.
told him like 6. I'm like not 7. I'm like 6:30. I'm like because I feel like I take like like an hour in traffic. So I'm like I don't want to say 6 because 6 might be too pushing it. So I'm like I
I
don't
would
want to
still
be
work
inconsistent.
from home. I would have had to do later if that was, you know what I mean? So, dude, hats off.
Man,
to
well, shout out to the ladies, everybody. Let's get a hand clap. Round of
I know
applause for the
it's
ladies.
not much, but it's
Well,
still a lot.
thank you so
better
much,
than
It's
Lily,
a
for,
lot than what we it's a lot better than what we would do if we were not doing it.
Well, and sometimes these lights wash me out too, so I have to make sure I have blush on or something like.
Yep.
I think
And contour, or else we're gonna look ghosty.
right. Otherwise, you look like a flat ghost face. It's like it's fucking bullshit.
Man, you know what? Like the only thing that gets me is like this selfie light be all in my
Yeah.
Oh
glasses.
yeah, the
So,
glasses.
yeah.
That's why I put my ring light or a little above me going down.
Yeah, mine is
You
higher
can kind of
than
see it
me.
if I look up. See?
Yeah, that's like
Oh,
my
yeah, we all
deal.
But
got
if
it,
I'm
but-
like this, you don't.
Let's see. This could be like the thumbnail, all of us with the selfie light in the middle of our eyes. Okay, there we go.
Hers look like
I think
eyeballs.
we could
Hers looks
screenshot
cool.
that. What was that?
Hers looks cool. It looked like eyeballs.
It did look like
when
eyeballs.
She did it. Hey, green eyes. You look like an alien, kind of. So cool.
I should like
With
take
the
a picture. All right,
aurora.
hold on. I'm gonna take a picture of this real quick. I'll post this on the IG or
This
something.
is gonna
Everybody.
totally be on it.
Okay. That's sweet. All right, y'all. Well, I'm about to take us on out of here. Thank you, Lily,
Thank you
for
so much.
sliding through.
I loved
don't
it.
hang up. Don't.
No,
leave.
No. I don't want to hang up.
Not yet. Once we stop recording, I'm gonna debrief with you real quick. Say bye.
All right, y'all. We'll holla at y'all. Stay.